Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another crafty update video. In this video I'm going to be working on two cross-stitching projects, which these are the two I'm working on. This is Drinks on the Beach, artwork by Lars Stewart, and it is part of the Hade 2025 Stitch Along. This one here is Autumn Harmony, artwork by Maxine Gadd and charted by Maxine Gadd. And what I am trying to do is I am trying to get Autumn Harmony finished by the end of this year, which I think I'm at 80% on her now. And I am trying to finish the top 2 rows of Drinks on the Beach by the end of this year. So in last week's video, I had figured out how many stitches I needed to do on each project in a week, and then I worked on each piece separately. So I worked on Drinks on the Beach until I met my goal, and then I tried to work on Autumn Harmony until I met my goal for the week, and I failed. I did not get all my stitching done on Autumn Harmony last week, so I think this week I am going to figure out how many stitches I need to do every day, like divide the amount of stitches in a week by the 7 days of the week, and then just do a certain amount of stitches every day on both pieces. So we're gonna try it and see how it goes. And yeah, so I think I figured it out somewhere last week, if I'm remembering correctly. I think I know how many stitches I need to do. Let me see. I have so many pages. Okay, so I think I would need to do 457 stitches on Autumn Harmony in a day, and for Drinks on the Beach I need to do 280 stitches a day. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do. Drinks on the Beach is on a 32 count fabric, 1/1 tent stitch or a half cross using CXC floss, and Autumn Harmony is on an 18 count 2/1 full cross. So I'm going to try doing daily stitching, see how that goes, and see if I can meet my goal that way, because last week I think I was trying to do like 600-ish stitches on Autumn Harmony a day, and that was kind of a lot. So yeah. I also have crochet projects I'm working on. I have started 2 different blankets. I'm not going to make 2 blankets. I just don't know which one I want to keep working on. So this is the 6-day star blanket by Betty McKnit, and this is a free pattern. It's a corner to corner blanket that I think I found it on the Karen website, the Yarnspiration website. So it uses the slice of anniversary cake, and I think it might have been called like the from here to there blanket or something like that. So I'm not sure which one I want to keep working on. So I think I'm going to make this swatch bigger and then decide which one I want to keep going with. So that is what I'll be working on, and I'll be back once I have an update. It is now Friday and I am back with my final update for this video, and I don't know how well I explained at the beginning what I was doing, but I was going to show you. I made like a little piece of paper to plan out my stitches for the week. So I did like each day of the week, and then I put Autumn Harmony and Drinks on the Beach, and then I also included how many stitches I wanted to do a day on each piece. And then I made a little checkbox so I could check off if I met my amount of stitches for the day. And then I also included a little line to write down how many stitches I did each day. So that makes it easier for me to see when I'm like meeting my goal, and then also I can keep track of if I'm doing extra. So like right here, I missed 2 days on Drinks on the Beach, but then I made up for it by doing more stitches on Wednesday, and then I also had done more stitches on some of the earlier days in the week. So that's what I've been doing, and I actually really like that, because then I can really easily see each day if I am meeting my goal. I can also kind of plan ahead. Like I know that tomorrow I'm going to be at my parents' house, so I will most likely not get a lot of stitching done, and so then I can plan like to do more stitches to make up for it on the other days. So I actually already made another thing for next week, another little list for keeping track, so I will be doing that. And so far that's working really well, doing daily stitches on both pieces. I also I put the date so that I know like which week it is that I'm working on. I also left room, so for right here I put the blanket that I'm working on, and then I also have a thing at the bottom for keeping track of books I am reading. So it's a nice way to keep track of all of the stuff that I'm doing in the week on one little page, which the books and stuff I usually do too for like Flosstubes. It makes it easier. I also like this time I got smarter and I actually like wrote down little pieces about the book. So we'll go over that when I talk about books. So first thing I will do is show stitching, autumn harmony. Also the sun came out, so the lighting probably like changed a lot. But there's like more clouds, so the sun could be going away throughout the video. Anyways, autumn harmony, I was working on this side. If I have a before picture, I will show it. And I got a lot more on like the ear done. So I got some of the ear filled in. And then I also was working on this side here because this was a lot of block stitching, and so it went really fast, which I was kind of looking for some fast stitching, fast way to get stitches, because there was some of the days I didn't have a ton of time. And so on days when I know I don't have a ton of time, I will try and do like blocks of stitching that will go fast. And then if there's a day where I know I have more stitching time, I will try and do more of like confetti stitching. So it's going well. I managed to keep up with her this week by doing the daily stitching. And I think there were some days that I even technically did more. So I am happy with that progress. I will say that even if I have time at the end of a day, I try not to do extra stitching on these pieces, because if I'm going to be working on them for like 3 months, I don't want to burn myself out. So like I will do my stitches on Autumn Harmony first because she is kind of like the more important piece, and then I'll move on to Drinks on the Beach. Once I have got my stitches in for Drinks on the Beach, I'm just like usually like, okay, I'm done for the day with stitching, and I will, you know, start reading a book or just kind of like do other things. Like I will not usually push myself to do more even though I'll have time. So like a lot of times I finish my stitching by like 7 in the evening, and then I don't go to bed till like 11, and then I'm like, that's non-stitching time because I don't want to get burned out and tired of working on these pieces. Anyways, Drinks on the Beach. I kind of was working everywhere on this piece this week because I was trying to fill in some of the confetti on the straw, because there's a lot of like stitches here that have like one stitch of a color and then that's it. And so I would do that color up here on the straw, and then if it was used anywhere else down here, I would start working down here, which is how I started working on the pinky colors here. Is there was like one stitch of the pink in the straw, and then I was like, okay, I still have this color on my needle, where can I go? And I went and started working down here. So this one is a lot easier to get the daily stitches in because it is only 10 stitch, so it does go a lot faster, and I am enjoying it. I am also trying to reach the bottom of this second row of pages because I'm not sure how far it goes down. I know that there's still more time, and then once I reach this bottom part of the second row of pages, that's when I'm going to start parking threads, because I am not going to be doing the row beneath it. I just need to do the top 2 rows and that's it. So I will be getting to a point eventually where I will be parking a lot of threads down here, which will get really messy, but it's fine. Yeah, happy to be working on this. Also, I did see in the Heaven and Earth Design sent out like a little newsletter. It said that they would be having a HAID 2026 SAL stitch along, and that it will be going up to purchase, I think, on November 1st, and that is when all of the details will come out. So if you were wanting to join next year's stitch along, or just if you're interested, because it's really hard to know if you want to join because you don't know what the charts will be. Like if it's a bunch of AI charts, I'll be out because I'm not stitching AI, and like this year already they had a few AI charts, and so it's just kind of like, please do not go that direction with the stitch along. But here is my progress, and that is all for cross stitch, just the 2 projects still. And the other thing that I will show is my blanket. So I did decide that the blanket I am going to make is it's called From Here to There on the Yarnspirations website. I am not doing the 6-day star blanket with this yarn. I did see some people give some suggestions about like possibly making the 6-day star blanket into like a tree skirt, which would be fun to do with like some like Christmassy yarn, because I know that Joann's and I think Michael's, but Joann's is obviously closed, but when Joann's was open, they used to have come out with like special Christmas yarns every year. So that would be a fun thing to do if Michael's does that, because I was always like, I would see the Christmas yarns, but I have never really made anything Christmassy before in knitting or crochet. So I never bought them because I was like, I don't know what I would do with that, but a Christmas tree skirt would be a good idea. So I might one day do that, but first I need to use yarn I have. Anyways, so the From Here to There blanket, I have been working on it quite a bit. This is a really good pattern for if you're watching TV, because you are just doing the same thing over and over again, and so it doesn't take a lot of attention. So like right now I have been watching The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, and this is great for that. I will also be watching I think Witcher comes out at the end of the month, and I think it's, what is it, season 4, which is the first season without Henry Cavill, so that will be interesting. And yeah, this is really good and easy for when you're watching shows, because it's the same, it's repetitive. So if you don't like a repetitive pattern, you would not like this, but I'm enjoying it. I also started the second ball of my yarn, so far I have used one fully, and then I have started this one, and I have 6 balls of yarn. So I think my plan is that once I get to the end of the third, that's when I will start doing my decreases, so I can try and use as much of my 6 things of yarn as I can. So that is the blanket. I just dropped my pen. Books. So I will wait. We will pause and I will talk about something else. So it's still in the same like knitting, crocheting talk, but I was going through my stuff, and number one, the sweater I was wearing at the beginning of the video, I don't think you were able to see it, but I put it on and I realized that I finished that sweater, I think it was like a year or 2 ago. I don't remember when. And I didn't weave in the ends. So I went to put it on and there was just like ends sticking out. And so I was just like pushing them in for that video. And so after that video, I was like, okay, I need to like weave in the ends. I also washed it because it had just been like kind of like sitting for a while because it was hot over summer, and so I like to try and like wash the things after they've been sitting for a while. So I hand washed that, got that all done, and then I picked up the shawl because it was cold, and what do you know, I also did not weave in the ends on this. So I need to go through my projects that I've made, and I need to try and pick out the things that need finishing or other things. So like this needs ends woven in. I think all my socks have the ends woven in, which is good because I have been wearing my knit socks. And I also think there's a few things that I might go through and like frog. What is even called frogging if it's like a finished project and you're pulling it apart. But yeah, I have a few things that I have never really worn, or I wore it and I realized I don't really enjoy wearing it. And so I would like to pull those projects apart and use that yarn for something else that I will actually wear. And so I think that's going to be something that comes up in like some of my next videos, is going through my knitting and crocheting, making sure that everything is a finished project, and also possibly getting some things pulled out and then taking the yarn apart and getting it ready to use for something else. Like there is one specific top. I will go and get it and we can look at this top together, okay? Okay, so I have this top here, and this was one, I think it was one of like the first tops that I made. And I like never wear it, and part of it is I loved the shape of it and everything. And I think it was called the Diaphanous Raglan by Jessie May Designs. The problem with it is these sleeves. Like I loved the look of the sleeves, and the way you make this is it is a strand of fingering held together with a strand of like a lace weight mohair. And then on the sleeves, it is just the lace weight. The problem is whenever I wear it, which I've worn it a few times, things get caught on the sleeves and it's very impractical. And so like it's a nice top, but I don't wear it that much because of the sleeves. Like I don't want to ruin the sleeves. And so I was actually thinking I might pull it apart and use the yarn to possibly make another one of these vests, which I just made this year. And so for this vest, you're supposed to hold fingering with a like lace or a mohair. And so I think I might pull it apart and for sure use the pink to make a vest. I'm not sure if I would hold it together with the purple again or if I would hold it together with something else, but I think that's just like a more wearable piece that would be in my wardrobe, because like I said, the sleeves on this, they're just not practical. And like if it's like cold, it's not really going to do much for you, but you're also not going to wear this type of garment in the summer. I don't know. It's just not really practical now that I have made it and had it in my wardrobe for a couple years. So that might be becoming a vest, which this is which vest was this? I don't remember which vest it was, but it was by Fable Knitwear. And she has like multiple vests and I love all of them. There is one that's like the Hobbiton vest and I think that might be the one that has like a button band, but it's a fake button band because someone said in my comments that on the vest that has the button band, it's fake. It's a lie. And then she has this vest and then there's one that is like a ribbed vest. So yeah, there's options of what I could make with that yarn. So that's something that I think I want to do, is start pulling out some of my knit tops and shawls and just see if I would like to keep them as that or use the yarn for other things. So that's all for knitting, crocheting. Books, there's only one book that I'm going to talk about. I've read a couple, but there was one that was so good and it was an audiobook, so I was just listening and stitching, and it was called The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni, and it is part of a series that is called The Prison Healer, I think, and it is a 3-book series, so it's not super long. It is technically considered YA fantasy, so young adult fantasy, so there's not any like crazy spice or anything like that. And I just wrote down like a few key words to give you an idea of if you would like the type of book. So the book has a royal family that has magical abilities. The regular people do not have magical abilities. There is a rebel uprising where there are people trying to like overthrow the royal family. And the setting is entirely in a prison that is people who have like committed crimes against the royal family. So that was a really good book. The ending of it was, I think, what made it like, I think I gave it a 5 stars. The ending is what made it a 5 stars. So if you start it and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know about this, it's the ending that really got me. And I actually checked out the second book from the library right after I finished, and so I have started listening to the second book already, which is, I think it's called The Gilded Cage. So that was a great book. I loved it so much. And yeah, that's, I think, the only book. I've read a few other ones, but they were like good, but there weren't anything worth bragging about, you know? And then I currently have a few other ones that I have going, but I will talk about them once I actually get finished. So that is all for this video. In terms of games, Pokemon came out. If you got Pokemon, how is the new Pokemon game? Because I have seen so many mixed reviews. Some people, they love it. I think those are probably like the diehard Pokemon fans. And then some people are like, Pokemon should be so much farther advanced than it is, like the graphics and everything. And so like, I don't know. How is it? I love a good Pokemon game though. So I'm just like, I want it. I want to play it, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what other people say. I also saw someone say that there is a Digimon game that came out this year that is really good. So it's like Pokemon or Digimon. I've never played a Digimon game, so that's a possibility. Anyways, that's it though for this video. I will be back next week with another update, hopefully making more progress on my cross stitching, and then also possibly tearing up some knits. So I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!